Hello, and welcome to another Contemplative Living. Here every Sunday we try to talk about concepts that help us in our daily lives and that bring us, that peace, that core of our being into our everyday lives. And so today we're going to talk about build happiness or build lasting happiness. Happiness is one of the roots that we need to create a strong foundation. We're going to talk a lot about that. Gandhi once said, happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. That's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful, and it encapsulates what we're going to talk about today. So let's get to it.
Welcome. Now creating a life of peace. This is Contemplative Living with David Bennett. Contemplations and reflections to help with spiritual living. This podcast is made possible by dharmatalks.com.
All right, so we're here to talk about building lasting happiness. And it's a slow but true path that each of us can consider on this life's journey. Because if we can bring more happiness into what we're doing and how we live our lives, then we're going to find life to be more rewarding. But when confusion and ignorance are present, there is suffering. And suffering often arises when there is confusion, when there is ignorance. Genuine happiness can be found by incorporating qualities such as goodness, caring, truth, and wisdom, and bringing that into our lives. A simple and direct way to increase our ability to be fully present in each moment is by letting go. By letting go of that suffering. And as we work toward reducing suffering, happiness emerges. It emerges to guide us on our spiritual journeys. I find that it's essential that we take care of ourselves physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And in my own practice, I remind myself of how fortunate I am and strive to be helpful while also releasing expectations. So let's take all of that and dig a little bit deeper. Bringing goodness, caring, truth, and wisdom into our lives is true happiness. But we have to work at it at first. It's not just something that happens overnight, especially if we're in a state of confusion, if we're in a state of not being able to understand why we find ourselves in these circumstances. So we have to start looking, and we have to start exploring, and start putting on our explorer's hat that is a sense of wonder, where we're looking to find truth. We're looking to find the wisdom in our lives. And when we become these explorers, happiness wells up. It wells up and it starts to feed us. And it gives us what we need to keep moving forward. So building happiness, but we also have to stop and think for a minute, because how are we building this foundation of happiness? Because if we're building happiness on a foundation of ego, then it's like trying to build a tower on quicksand. It may seem stable at first, promising heights that touch the sky with its shiny facade. But beneath the surface lies that unstable ground. and it's ready to devour any illusions of grandeur that we may have. Ego-driven happiness is built upon external validations and fleeting accomplishments. It thrives on comparisons, constantly seeking affirmation from others. Yet this fragile structure crumbles when faced with adversity or criticism. Its walls are weak and unable to withstand the wind of change or even self-doubt. But true and lasting happiness requires a strong base, one rooted in authenticity and self-awareness. Those are the bases we want to build our happiness on. And it depends on introspection and reflection to understand the values, the passions, and the purpose. Instead of chasing external validation, we try to cultivate an internal compass that guides us towards fulfillment. So when we build our happiness upon a solid foundation, such as gratitude and compassion for ourselves and others, and empathy and resilience, these become pillars that can weather life's storms without toppling over. And they provide us with strength during difficult times, while allowing us to celebrate moments of joy without solely relying on outside approval. Letting go is the simplest and most direct path for us to increase our capacity to give our full attention to this moment. So we're talking about presence. We're talking about being fully present in this moment, because this moment is what matters. This is the moment where we can initiate positive, empowering outcomes. It's in this moment. It's not about the past. It's not about the future. It's about what we do right here, right now. But letting go so that we can find that happiness, letting go of suffering, of self-doubt, of all of the things that bring us suffering, letting go so that we can be fully present and aware in this moment, so that we can be that empowering self. But, saying letting go is easy. The concept is sound, but it's not as easy to do when you're wrapped up in the circumstances. So what I would like to say is let go a little here, let go a little there. And soon you'll start to your attention will build, and you will just love where you're at and in this present moment. But let go. If you can't just let go and be in the present moment, let go a little here and a little there. Hey, I see we have someone here from Singapore. Hello and welcome. So, happiness comes to us to fuel our spiritual paths as we work to reduce suffering. We have to remember that happiness is not a destination, it's a companion on our spiritual journey. It comes to us like a gentle breeze. It comes to us whispering words of encouragement and inspiration as we navigate our life's challenges. Picture it as the fuel that powers our souls, propelling us forward on our quest to alleviate suffering in ourselves and in others. When happiness graces our lives, it fills us with warmth and vitality. It ignites an inner fire that compels us to seek out ways to bring joy and relief into the world around us. It isn't just about fleeting moments of pleasure or temporary highs. It's about creating lasting ripples of positive change. By nurturing happiness within ourselves, we cultivate a deep sense of compassion for those who are suffering, We recognize that everyone is fighting their own battles. Everyone is. And everyone is striving for peace amidst the chaos. And so, fueled by the gift of happiness, we embark on a path towards reducing suffering, one smile at a time. But let's remember, this isn't an easy journey. The road may be winding and filled with obstacles along the way. Yet despite any hardships that we may encounter, happiness remains steadfast. Remember, it's that foundation that we're building that happiness on. Those solid pillars that are holding us up. So happiness remains steadfast and in its commitment to guide us through dark times. But we always have to remember, we must care for ourselves physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Self-care is critical in our lives. We can't get anywhere if we don't care for ourselves. We can't care for others if we haven't cared for ourselves. So we have to fill our cup. We have to fill our cup emotionally, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. So we have to take care how we go about our business. We have to nurture our emotions and have a spiritual practice of some sort. My wife's mother used to tell her, believe in something. You got to incorporate some form of spirituality in your life. And I don't dictate one form or another. It's up to you. The same with your physically. What works for you? What works for you may not work for everyone. And we don't judge what other people are doing. That's their journey. That's their life. But we need to care for ourselves so that then we can build that foundation, generate that happiness, and bring it into our everyday life. I try to remember how lucky I am and to be helpful and to expect less. I'm sure we've all experienced a time where we've been looking forward to something where we're going, an event, a lecture, and we were inspired by something that brought us there. But then, it doesn't live up to our expectation. I've learned to expect less, to go into it without expectation. And that allows me to be happy for what I do receive when I'm there, when I'm being fully present, and when I'm trying to be helpful with someone else. We can help as much as we want. It doesn't always work out. So, we need to keep our heads up. We need to keep that happiness in our hearts. We need to be fully present. Build that foundation and bring everything together so that we can move forward in life with joy, with happiness, with compassion and love in our heart. I hope that you have a blessed week and that you are able to start building that foundation of happiness for you and your family, your circle. I hope you have a blessed week. Namaste.
Thank you for listening today to Contemplative Living with David Bennett. Please be sure to subscribe, listen, and share with your friends wherever you listen to your podcasts. You can find us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and the Podbean app. You can find the links to these on David's website, dharmatalks.com, on the Contemplative Living page. Have a blessed week.